Jesus also said, teach them to observe all the things that I've commanded you. In order to stand in this position to be able to teach what Jesus wants you to teach, you're going to need confidence in your own ability. Usually when we think of confidence or courage, we think of death-defying acts, heroic great sacrifices, fireman confidence when they run into a burning building to bring out little children. It takes great confidence for a soldier to fall on a grenade to save their buddies. It takes great confidence for a policeman to stand in the line of fire to save a life. But Jesus is talking about you today. He's saying, I want you to be the confident one. I want you to be the one that teaches others about me. I don't want your preacher to be the teacher. I want you. Jesus is calling every person here, the average Joe, to be confident in laying out his great commission. He's calling you to face the world and make a difference. To go out there and teach the world his message. When we know something, we can't shut up about it. If I were to talk to one of you guys about a trip you just had, you could tell me every detail, every day, and you could speak to me for hours. And it wouldn't be boring because you'd be passionate about it. I could teach one of you about a hunting trip, somebody could talk to me about a sports game, and you could talk to me because you're passionate about it. If we sold out for it, if we really believe it, then we're going to share it. So, by stating that we're the ones to teach, Jesus is really asking, are you excited about me? Are you sold out for me? Jesus wants to be confident in two things. Number one is his story, which is found in the Bible, and number two is his story found in you. Some of us say that whole, I'm not smart enough, or I don't know much about the Bible, but you know what he's done in your life. You may not know how to explain every little thing, but talking to someone, Jesus has done something crazy in your life, and you want to just share whatever it might be. Let me ask you, do you have a passion to know the Bible? Do you have a passion to seek how God is moving in your life, and are you willing to teach others about the gospel? The one last thing is commitment. That's the hard part. Commitment, and there's two kinds. One commitment is from God. Hey, wow, that's cool. Nice. All right. Number 4 is commitment. Number 1 is from Christ. You need to be able to rest in the promise that Jesus will be there for you. That's why he finishes his great commitment with this. He says, and lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. That's pretty reassuring. Remember when you were in school? As a kid, you dared to do different things. You do crazy things, ridiculous things, death-defying things. You know, just because you didn't want to be called chicken is really what it was. You'd be walking down the street. I don't know if I told you this last time, but I'm going to tell you again. Is I had a friend, we were walking down the street, and I said, hey, I dare you to jump over those bushes. Anybody remember? Good. Well, he did, but I didn't tell him that on the other side of those bushes was a two-story drop on the staircase. I was young, and I know it's funny. And so he jumped, and he made it. He jumped over, and he disappeared, and we all laughed. We ran over there, and he had jumped, and he landed on both stairs, but he was like, he landed nicely. Didn't break anything or anything, so we could laugh again when we realized he was all right. Don't do that, by the way, anybody. But we did it because we were kids, and we dared people to do stupid things because they didn't want to be called chicken. He would always have done, he probably would have done it again if he had said it again because he didn't want to be called chicken. That's just how it was. But Jesus doesn't do that. He doesn't call you out by calling you chicken. He reminds you that he's been in your shoes and that he's with you always. This is cool. During the English War in the 1900s, soldiers going to the front would pass one another, and a body of soldiers would see another body of soldiers, and they would say, 494, boys, 494. And they would answer, with 6 further on, boys, 6 further on. Now the significance of this was that in their hymnal, it was called Sacred Songs and Solos. Number 494 was God be with you until we meet again. And 6 further on, or number 500, was Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine. So let me ask you, do you know that Christ is there for you? The second commitment is from you. Jesus is committed to you, but are you committed to him? 2 Timothy says this, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-discipline. So never be ashamed to tell others about our Lord. There can be no shame in our name. There must be a commitment from you in order for the message to be spread. It's our legacy to spread the gospel of Christ everywhere we go. Are you willing to be there for Christ? Will this church live out the Great Commission, do you think? I was at the first church a little while ago. I was at that other church today. And I asked them the same question. I said, hey, Royalston churches, are they going to leave a legacy? Are your kids going to say, I'm here at church because of my grandmother, my dad, my best friend? How many people have come to this church because of a friend? Anybody? Look around you. If that friend hadn't opened their mouth, do you think you'd be here? Literally, you're here because of other people that God is using. So don't ever think that just because you don't know much about the Bible, or you don't talk very well, or you're just too busy, that one little word of just talking back and forth could save a life. And just like that atheist comedian said, this guy doesn't even believe in God, and he's telling you, if you know the cure to life and you're not telling anybody, you must really hate somebody. If you knew the cure to cancer, you'd be telling people right away. You knew the cure to AIDS, you'd be telling people all over the place. You know the cure to life. It's above everything else. It doesn't matter if you have AIDS, it doesn't matter if you have cancer, if you have the cure to life, you're sin. It's crazy. And we just keep quiet. And I'm not yelling at you guys, I've done it myself. My family's unsaved. My whole family, my brother, my mom and my dad, and I struggle with that all the time because I've been a Christian now for 8 to 10 years, and God hasn't seemingly worked in that area. But then at the fair, I invited them to come along with the prerequisite that they were coming to see my band. I said, hey, come to the church, my band's going to be playing, that's how they'll come. If I say, hey, come to church, Jesus is going to be there, nah, I'm busy. I'll be there and I'm playing, all right. Yeah. And they came and they enjoyed themselves, and they talked to this one man named John. Now, John is from another church. He's from, I want to say, Orange Baptist Church or something, but he goes somewhere, and he lives in Winchendon, and he comes here for youth group. And he talked to my dad for like 40 minutes. I don't know what they talked about. I let them alone, but they talked about 40 minutes, and my dad left. Talked to him later. He said, hey, I want to let you know, I felt really comfortable at that fair. That guy talked to me, and he was very friendly. He made me feel welcome, and I really enjoyed myself that day. And I was like, man, like just because somebody opened their mouth and was friendly, and was sharing their life with Christ, with my dad, he enjoyed himself. That doesn't happen, if I can tell you. My dad has been to plenty of churches, plenty of things, and he's left and never said a word. But he called me back to tell me that he really enjoyed himself. So if I can tell you, Royalston has some faith that many churches I've been to doesn't have. That you guys have been through stuff. You guys are going through stuff. And yet you still have faith to come here every day, to share your life with Christ. And that's going to touch people. If it touches my dad and where I am, it'll touch some big people here. So, think about that. One last thing I want you to think about is who do you need to share your faith with? Right there. You thought of it already. I just said it, and there was that one person that you thought of. Who do you need to share your faith with? There's probably millions of people you can share your faith with. That one person came to mind right there. Think about that. Was it your mom, your dad, your brother, sister, best friend, husband, wife? Think about that. And that one person I want for the next couple months for you to just pray for, talk to. And I'm not saying don't be rude and go up to them and be like, you know Jesus, but go to them. Be their friend. Be there for them. They will remember that the first person to be there when they're down was you. And when they turn around and they want to run to Jesus, they're going to remember you were the last person they saw talking about it. Just remember that. I want to share a story as I leave. We're not going to go till 1 o'clock. We'll leave that for Pastor next week. I'm going to let you enjoy your day. Amen. Is that good? All right. It looks sunny out. It looks nice. You won't be able to get to the beach. Anybody going? No? All right. Anyways, I tried to get you excited. May 12th, 1807. Look, he's already leaving. He's already out. All right. Robert Morrison boarded a ship in New York. He was on his way to China, where he would become the first Protestant missionary. This is 1807, long before I was born. Not very much, though. After 113 days at sea, he arrived in Macao on the southern coast of China. 7 years later, he baptized his first convert. That's sad. I've been here for 12 months. I think we've seen a good 30 people. 50. It's crazy. We're beating this guy to death. This guy, 7 years in one place, one convert. That would be called a failure in our eyes. We would write him off. We would stop sending him money. We would close his church down. But he, on his way there, said this. Someone asked him kind of like smart remark kind of way. It's like, do you expect to save China? And he goes, no, but I expect God will. When he finally baptized his first convert, he wrote this in his journal. 7 years later. May he be the first fruits of a great harvest, one of millions who shall come and be saved. God gave him this faith to see beyond this meager start, to see the day when in China millions of people will be saved. This guy believed it. Now I have to tell you, do the math. It took 7 years to do a convert, so in 70 years, his lifetime, he will save 10 people. Now, if you think about it in the long run of things, he saved 10 people, that's great. But if you think about it in the whole let's write him off way, that's not that good. 70 years, 10 people. So we're thinking about that, but he's thinking about millions. Morrison, like so many heroes of the faith, he died without ever seeing his dream come true. Now, I have to say that when he died, Christianity had established just this tiny little toehold on the edge of China. Things hadn't happened. And years later, others would come, including J. Hudson Taylor. Over the time, gospel would spread very slowly into the interior. And I want to say slowly, I mean years and years. Nothing was happening because the suspicious Chinese at the time regarded Christianity as a white man's religion.